Good afternoon, it's myself again. Today is Wednesday, I'm not going to say April. No, it's May 9th today. Thursday, May 9th today. Did I say Wednesday before? No. Oh, gosh, good. Today's Thursday, May 9th. Duh. Anyway, yes, today's Thursday, May 9th, and boy, have I got some news. Oh, a lot's been happening over the last month or so. Firstly, I have an update. My boyfriend came down or came up from Melbourne on April 10th and stayed until just this past Tuesday, which was, well, today's the 9th, so he left on the 7th. Yeah, the 7th. And yeah, so he stayed almost a month here with me. And on Anzac Day weekend, which for those of you who are not Australians or New Zealanders don't know what Anzac means. Anzac Day is April 25th and is a cultural holiday, remembrance occasion here in Australia and in New Zealand. Anzac is Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, and that was a real legitimate unit during World War One. And Anzac Day commemorates the storming of Gallipoli during World War One in 1915. I think 1915. I think. Anyway, so yeah, it's become a cultural thing ever since. So anyway, this year Anzac Day was a Thursday, so that weekend, from the 25th over to the 29th, Monday the 29th, we stayed down on the Gold Coast for that weekend. And it just so happened by pure coincidence that weekend on the Saturday, which was I think the 27th, there was going to be an AFL game at the Gold Coast, at Metricon Stadium on the Gold Coast. And knowing that I love my AFL, and I'm a member of the Brisbane Lions Club, and they're my team. And Brisbane Lions were playing in the Gold Coast at Metricon Stadium by pure coincidence that weekend. So knowing that my boyfriend, he bought tickets, and we went to the AFL game at Metricon Stadium. Q Clash 17, Brisbane versus Gold Coast. Brisbane won. Yay. I'm happy with that. And he bought me a big flag and everything, and it was good and everything. And I wore one of my scarves, and it was good. Yeah. Anyway, so that was a good weekend. And he went home on this past the other day. Went home the other day, so I'm like, oh, he won't be back up here and get until August. I miss him already. It's only been a couple of days. Anyway, so in other news, I have I've got a couple more because I love my Lions, Brisbane Lions. I love them. So just today I've got a couple more key rings. So I've got some key rings. There's a duck and the lion. Turn them around. Right, and then my duck. See my duck? Mm-hmm. To go with all my other Lions key rings. Yeah. And I have another book haul. I love my books, as you know. And I spotted these ones and I thought, oh, I want to get these. Because I love my Australian writers and things. So I thought I got these. These are part of a series, Angus and Robinson Australian Classics, which I bought from Booktopia. Go figure. Right. Excuse me. And this first one is My Brother Jack by George Johnson. See, nice sort of bright cover. bright without being too garish. You know, bright without being garish. I like that. It's sort of bright and clean without being garish. And a simple design, pair of boots, which probably, from all I know, I haven't never read the book, so to tie in with the story. I think, from what I understand, the back of it, the the picture does. Well, they always do, don't they? The picture always ties in with the story. So there's that, and my brother Jack by George Johnson. That's how thick it is, and that's the back of it. David and Jack Meredith grow up in a patriotic suburban Melbourne household during the First World War, and since the boots, and go on to lead lives that could not be more different. Through the story of the two brothers, George Johnson, the author, has created an enduring exploration of two Australian myths. That of the man who loses his soul as he gains worldly success, and that of the tough, honest Aussie battler whose greatest ambition is to serve his country during the war. The first of Johnson's semi-autobiographical trilogy, winner of the Miles Franklin Award and frequently voted as one of Australia's most popular classics, My Brother Jack is deeply satisfying, complex and moving literary masterpiece. The trilogy is completed by Clean Straw for Nothing, also a Miles Franklin Award winner, and A Cartload of Clay. And the Age newspaper describes this as enthralling, entertaining, and vividly original. So there's that one. And then we have, now this one you may recognise from the movie, the 1960s, I think 60s? Late 50s, early 60s movie, The Sundowners by John Cleary. Now this was turned into a movie, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah. The Carmodys travel the countryside, shearing, droving, and making ends meet and looking for that one special spot they can settle down in. Paddy is at heart a wanderer. The whole country is his backyard, he says. But his wife Ida and their 14-year-old son Sean long for a place to call home. As they move from job to job, Paddy, Ida and Sean encounter some of the most memorable characters in fiction. Set against the magnificent backdrop of the harsh and beautiful Australian landscape, The Sundowners is a novel filled with kindness and happiness, as well as hardship and danger. Superbly written and deeply moving, it showcases one of Australia's most talented authors at the height of his powers. In 1960, the best-selling novel was turned into a film starring Deborah Kerr, Robert Mitchum, and Peter Ustinov. The New York Times describes this as thoroughly satisfying. So we have here The Sundowners by John Cleary. Again, a simple cover design. I think it is. Simple cover design with a picture that ties in with the story. Simple, bright, yet not garish in any way. So there's that. Third book. Four. The third of four that I've purchased is The Battlers by Kylie Tennant. The Battlers is the story of Snow, a drifter and wanderer, the waif-like Dancy the stray from the slums of Sydney, and the other outcasts who accompany them as they travel the country roads looking for work. Like the weed Patterson's curse colouring the hills, they haven't got... Like the weed Patterson's hills colouring the hills... Start that again. Like the weed the Patterson's curse, colouring the hills. They haven't got no right, but they were there. Drawing on their own experiences of life on the road in the 1930s, Tennant tells the story of the motley crowd of travellers with compassion and humour. First published in 1941, this is a while ago, The Battlers was awarded the Gold Medal of the Australian Literature Society and shared the S.H. Pryor Memorial Medal. More than 70 years later, the book's message of survival against the odds is as relevant today as it was then. So we have The Battlers by Kylie Tennant. A nice, beautiful image, brightly coloured without being garish, simple, elegant. And finally, we have My Brilliant Career and My Career Goes Bung by Miles Franklin. I am given to something which a man never pardons a woman. You will draw away as though I were a snake when you hear. With this warning, Sibylla confesses to her rich, handsome suitor that she is given to writing stories and bound, therefore, on a brilliant career. My Brilliant Career, the ironically titled and exuberant first novel by Miles Franklin. Sibylla relates her story of growing up passionate and rebellious in rural New South Wales, where the most that girls could hope for was to marry or teach. Sibylla will do neither, but that doesn't stop her from falling in love, and it doesn't make the choices any easier. Headstrong and imaginative, Sibylla Melvin is one of the most enduring heroines in Australian literature. Published nearly 50 years after My Brilliant Career, the sequel, My Career Goes Bung, revisits Sibylla, a little older and wiser, but with the same spirit and sensitivity and forthrightness. After the success of her autobiography, Sibylla discovers the literati in Sydney dealing with patrons, critics and suitors in her own inimitable way. So we have My Brilliant Career and My Career Goes Bung by Miles Franklin. So yes, I got lots of books to read yesterday. I like, as you can tell, I like to read. And it helps keep me busy when my love is not here with me. So, yeah. Anyway, I better go. I've got some stuff to do, so I thought I'd do this again. And I can't wait to read. Yeah. Anyway, I'm off. And I encourage everyone again to live with passion.